Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Mustard Seed Leadership, where we are on part 2 of a little journey called Growing Your Leadership Capacity, which I'm super excited about because I want and need to grow my leadership capacity. And so God is ministering to me, and I hope that He's going to challenge you as well. So, definition-wise, leadership capacity is simply how much you can handle before you start feeling overwhelmed. And it's how much responsibility you can shoulder, how many people you can lead, how many projects you can manage, how much influence you can wield. Now, the good news is that we can grow our leadership capacity. That's the journey of our leadership development, is being able to handle more by learning to work in a more effective and smarter way. So the big idea, leaders of great influence have learned to stretch their leadership capacity as much as possible. So, why is it such a big thing? Well, this week's example comes from Matthew 25 and verse 21, where Jesus was telling a parable, and He said, "The master replied, 'Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness.'" In other words, the happiness of Jesus, the reward of Jesus, is to reward your faithfulness with more responsibility. So in other words, if you've been faithful as a leader, God wants to add that. Now, adding means to handle more things, take responsibility for more things. Can you handle what Jesus wants to give you? Not unless you continually grow your leadership capacity. That's why if we want to carry the full inheritance that God has for us, it's essential, leaders, that we continue to grow that capacity. So the question is, can you handle more? The answer lies in your leadership capacity. So what are some of the warning bells? I mentioned them last week, and I'm going to mention them every week. How do you know when your leadership capacity is being reached? Well, that feeling of being overwhelmed, just the boat is sinking, I can't handle more. Feelings of burnout or frustration, or you're dropping balls. Remember, we're always juggling too many things as leaders. If you're continually dropping balls, that's a sign that you've reached your leadership limit. The example that I want to share this week is a famous example of Moses. Remember when Jethro came to him? And in Exodus 18, verses 17 and 18, it says, "Moses' father-in-law replied, 'What you are doing is not good. You and these people who come to you will only wear yourselves out. The work is too heavy for you. You cannot handle it alone.'" There's so many amazing truths right there. But to wear out means your emotional tank is being drained faster than it's being filled. Now, God's ideal for all of our lives is that as we pour out our lives as a drink offering, remember that's what the Apostle Paul said, "I'm being poured out like a drink offering." But as we pour out in service and in leading, our tanks should be being filled by the love, the passion, by doing what God has called us to do. But if you begin to pour out more than you fill in, and you do that for too long, you will wear yourself out. Note that it also says that the people will grow weary. Isn't that interesting? In the beginning, people will have grace for you when you're not available, you're too busy, you keep dropping balls. We know he's busy. But if for too long you are never available because you are juggling too many things and are feeling overwhelmed, the people will eventually run out of grace for always having to wait and unmet promises or never available. Now, one of the key words there is alone. You're trying to handle this alone. It's a key word for me because a small capacity leader does too many things alone. They feel alone, they feel isolated, and they work alone. And sometimes we can be crying out, "God, why don't you send me help?" He has sent you help, but chances are you haven't developed the people that He has sent you, because in your heart, you're still small capacity. It's time to invest, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. So how do we grow our leadership capacity? You stretch it through transitioning to a new way of working and leading. Now, I gave you 2 quotes last week. I want to zero in on the first one, where the challenge is to learn to work on the church or organization or business and not in the church, organization, or business. That's the transition in our thinking. Are you working on, or are you working in? Let's explore, firstly, what it means to work in. If you're still working in your church or business or organization, you are involved and not overseeing. The Bible speaks about an overseer. Their job is to supervise. Are you working in, or are you overseeing? The church, organization, or business cannot operate without you. If you're so involved in everything that they cannot operate without you, that's a sign of you working in and not on. You are the exclusive decision maker. In other words, you have to be involved in every decision. All of these involved, that's the sign that you're working in and not on. So ask yourself, are you involved because you're working in the church and not on it? So let's have a quick look. 6 ways to stretch your capacity. Last week we looked at focusing on as few things as possible. I want to take a moment to talk about doing as little as possible. Yep, this is the challenge. In other words, moving from a to-do list to a to-who list. Let me say that again. This is crucial. Learn to move from a to-do list to a to-who list. In Luke chapter 6, verses 12 and 13, it says, one of those days Jesus went up to a mountainside to pray and spent the night praying to God. When morning came, he called his disciples to him and chose 12 of them whom he designated as apostles. Now, Jesus, who had the most capability and capacity, decided to invest himself, not in the crowd, but in the few. A very intentional decision. He chose to invest in the future leaders around him. This needs to be a revelation for every single leader. Are you investing in the few around you, or are you doing everything yourself? The key to enlarging your capacity is to invest for the future by investing in the leaders around you. So that's the big idea I want you to catch. Big capacity leaders are always investing in their future potential leaders. So, they don't do things alone. They do become very intentional about choosing and investing in the right people. So let me leave you with a quick challenge. Number 1, identify the tasks that can and should be delegated to others. What are your key tasks? What can you and should you be training people for? For me, that means preaching, teaching. That means leading meetings. That means overseeing departments of the church. Those are areas that take a lot of my time that I should be training and investing in others to help with. Number 2, identify the people who show potential. Remember, Jesus prayed, begin now to write a list of potential people that you can be investing in. Do it. Don't wait. Do it now, because those are the people who will make your journey easier. And then lastly, start your to-who list. Now, very practically, that means as you write things on your to-do list, add a new column, and in the new column is the to-who list. As you put something down, is it something you have to do, or is it something someone else can do, and that can be an opportunity to train them, invest them, and grow them as potential leaders. So, big capacity leaders are always investing in potential leaders around them. Don't wait. Take the challenge. Do as little as possible by investing well in the people around you. May the Lord bless you. Hope that helps. We'll see you again next week for the next episode. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Remember, if you like the notes that come along with this episode or any one of our past episodes, you can visit outlookchurch.co.za/mustardseed leadership, where you can see all our past episodes, all the resources and notes that go along with this. Until next time, keep growing.